Why can a single project cost as much as an entire country's annual wealth? Not millions, not billions, but hundreds or even thousands of billions of dollars. What you're about to see are the 10 most insanely expensive megaprojects in the world, each one carrying a price tag that is simply hard to comprehend. Number 10. Australia-Asia Power Link. Known as the world's longest energy lifeline, the Australia-Asia Power Link, also called the Sun Cable Project, comes with a total investment of $22.6 billion. It is the largest integrated solar generation and high-voltage direct current transmission project on Earth, and arguably the most ambitious cross-border green energy project ever attempted. At the heart of the project is a massive energy corridor stretching across the Australian interior and deep ocean waters. The total length reaches 4,300 kilometers, roughly the straight-line distance from New York to Los Angeles, and about 5 times longer than the longest existing subsea power cable in the world. Supporting this corridor is a gigantic solar complex covering 120 square kilometers. Using high-voltage direct current technology, the system will be capable of transmitting up to 17.5 gigawatts of electricity over extremely long distances with minimal losses. According to the plan, the project will first supply stable green power to Darwin in northern Australia, before sending solar electricity through subsea cables to Singapore and other Asian markets. Once operational, it is expected to generate 20 billion Australian dollars in annual energy exports while creating more than 10,000 jobs. Although the project has undergone adjustments due to funding challenges, it still stands as a landmark example of cross-border renewable power transmission, exploring a completely new path for the global energy transition with a $22.6 billion investment. Number 9. Al Maktoum International Airport. From the ultra-wealthy city of Dubai comes Al Maktoum International Airport, a project with a staggering $35 billion investment. It represents Dubai's bold ambition to become the world's ultimate aviation hub, and it is the largest planned civil airport project in human history. The scale of this airport completely redefines what an airport can be. The total site covers 70 square kilometers, roughly the size of 10 Central Parks in New York City, while the total building area exceeds 19.4 million square meters. According to the final blueprint, the airport will feature multiple 4F-class runways, hundreds of long-haul gates, and the ability to handle every type of commercial aircraft, including giants like the Airbus A380. At full capacity, it is expected to handle 260 million passengers per year, equivalent to serving more than 3% of the world's population annually. Cargo throughput could reach 12 million tons. Even more ambitious, Dubai isn't just building an airport, it is building an entire aviation city around it. The surrounding development is planned to accommodate 1 million residents, including luxury housing, commercial centers, logistics hubs, and exhibition facilities. Construction began in 2005, but financial crises and the global pandemic caused repeated delays. In 2024, full expansion officially resumed. The first phase is expected to be completed within 10 years, raising annual passenger capacity to 150 million, potentially making it the busiest airport in the world. Number 8. LNG Canada. This is the largest energy investment in Canadian history, with a total cost of $40 billion. Led by global energy giant Shell and jointly invested by 5 international companies, including PetroChina and Korea Gas Corporation. The project is one of the largest and most environmentally advanced LNG export terminals in the world. The project forms a complete energy supply chain consisting of 3 key components. First, a 670-kilometer high-pressure pipeline runs across British Columbia, transporting natural gas from Western Canada to a massive liquefaction facility on the Pacific coast. Second, a state-of-the-art LNG processing plant will produce 14 million tons of liquefied natural gas per year in its first phase. After expansion, production could reach 26 million tons annually. Finally, a deepwater export terminal will allow the world's largest LNG carriers to dock, shipping natural gas to Asia, Europe, and global markets. One of the most remarkable features of the project is its environmental performance. Its carbon emissions are estimated at just 0.15 tons of CO2 equivalent per ton of LNG, far below the global average for LNG projects. For Canada, the project is expected to generate 23 billion Canadian dollars in government revenue, support local businesses and indigenous communities, and create tens of thousands of long-term jobs, potentially reshaping the global LNG trade landscape. Number 7. ITER. The shared dream of humanity to create an artificial sun is taking shape in the ITER International Thermonuclear Experimental Reactor. With a total investment of $65 billion, including more than $25 billion in core equipment alone, this project represents one of the most ambitious scientific undertakings ever attempted. Located in southern France, ITER is led by 7 core members: China, the European Union, India, Japan, South Korea, Russia, and the United States. In total, 35 countries are participating in the project, making it something like the United Nations of engineering. Its mission is extraordinary: to recreate the nuclear fusion reaction that powers the sun here on Earth. Inside the reactor, scientists aim to generate temperatures of 150 million degrees Celsius, about 10 times hotter than the core of the sun. The ultimate goal is to achieve an energy gain of 10 to 1, producing 500 megawatts of fusion power from just 50 megawatts of input energy. In simple terms, that means putting in 1 unit of energy and getting 10 back. If successful, nuclear fusion could fundamentally transform the world's energy system. It would provide an almost limitless supply of clean energy without long-lived radioactive waste and with minimal environmental impact. The project is still under construction today. Many of its components require nanometer-level precision, and nearly every stage of the build demands international cooperation at an unprecedented scale. Despite the immense cost and the long timeline, ITER carries something far bigger than an engineering goal. It carries the future of humanity's energy supply, and perhaps a crucial step toward humanity's journey into the stars. Number 6. Hinkley Point C. The Hinkley Point C nuclear power station in the United Kingdom is the largest infrastructure project currently under construction in Europe. With a total cost of £60 billion, about $81.3 billion, it is one of the most expensive nuclear energy projects in the world. The first new nuclear power station built in the UK in nearly 30 years, and a landmark collaboration between China, the United Kingdom, and France. At the heart of the project are 2 advanced EPR 1750 pressurized water reactors, each with a capacity of 1,750 megawatts. Once operational, the plant is expected to provide around 7% of the UK's electricity, supplying stable and clean power to roughly 12 million British homes, while reducing carbon emissions by 9 million tons per year. The enormous cost largely reflects the project's extremely strict safety standards and construction challenges. To meet Europe's top nuclear safety regulations, engineers had to make more than 7,000 design modifications. Concrete usage increased by 25%, steel consumption by 35%. A dedicated fish protection system was even built to minimize ecological impact on surrounding marine life. Although the project has faced delays and budget overruns, the UK government continues to support it firmly. Beyond solving energy shortages, it is expected to strengthen the country's nuclear industry, train a new generation of engineers, and become a milestone in European nuclear development. Number 5. Masjid Al-Haram expansion. The Grand Mosque expansion in Mecca is one of the greatest religious construction projects in human history. With an investment of $100 billion, it is the most expensive religious architecture project ever built, and one of the most sacred destinations for Muslims around the world. Located in the heart of the city of Mecca in Saudi Arabia, the Grand Mosque surrounds the Kaaba, the most sacred site in Islam and the direction toward which Muslims pray. This massive expansion increased the mosque's total area to more than 400,000 square meters, roughly equivalent to 56 football fields. Once completed, the complex can accommodate 2.5 million worshippers at the same time, with long-term plans to support up to 30 million pilgrims annually during the Hajj season. The project blends traditional Islamic architectural aesthetics with modern engineering. Beyond expanding the prayer halls, courtyards, and minarets, the complex now includes advanced climate control systems, intelligent lighting, and sophisticated crowd management technologies, ensuring a comfortable environment for worshippers, even in the 50 degrees Celsius summer heat of Saudi Arabia. The surrounding area was also completely upgraded with new transportation networks, hotels, and commercial facilities. One of the most iconic additions is the 601-meter tall Abraj Al Bayt clock tower, the tallest hotel building in the world, standing beside the mosque as a defining landmark of Mecca. For Muslims worldwide, the Grand Mosque represents the heart of faith. For Saudi Arabia, it is both a cultural symbol and a global center of religious heritage built through a $100 billion investment. Number 4. California High-Speed Rail. The California High-Speed Rail is the most expensive transportation project in American history. Originally estimated at $33 billion, the project's budget has now surged to approximately $128 billion, nearly 4 times its original estimate, earning it a reputation as one of the most dramatic cost overruns in infrastructure history. It is also the only true high-speed rail project currently under construction in the United States. The core plan is to build a 795-kilometer rail line connecting California's 2 major cities, San Francisco and Los Angeles. Once completed, travel time between the 2 cities could drop from roughly 6 hours by car to just 2 hours and 40 minutes, fundamentally reshaping transportation across the state. But the project has faced more than a decade of setbacks. Construction progress has been slowed due to several factors. California's complex terrain requires tunnels and bridges across mountains, valleys, and earthquake zones, dramatically increasing costs. At the same time, the project has faced environmental reviews, land acquisition disputes, funding shortages, and public criticism. In more than 10 years, only portions of the Central Valley segment have been completed. According to the latest plans, the first operational segment may open between 2031 and 2033, while full completion could extend well into the 2040s. Despite the controversies, California's government continues to push the project forward, believing it could ease congestion, reduce carbon emissions, strengthen economic connections across the state, and mark a historic turning point for high-speed rail in America. Number 3. Motuo Hydropower Station. The Motuo Hydropower Station on the lower reaches of the Yarlung-Tsangpo River represents the pinnacle of China's hydropower ambitions. With an estimated investment of $137 billion, it is expected to become the largest single infrastructure project ever undertaken in China, as well as the most powerful hydropower station in the world. The project is located near Motuo County in Nyanki, Tibet, where the Yarlung-Tsangpo River forms its famous Great Bend. Within just 50 kilometers, the river drops more than 2,000 meters, creating one of the most concentrated hydropower resources on Earth. The planned installed capacity reaches 60 million kilowatts, roughly 3 times that of the Three Gorges Dam, with an estimated annual electricity generation of 300 billion kilowatt-hours. To harness this natural drop, engineers plan to construct a system of ultra-long diversion tunnels, including 4 tunnels, each exceeding 20 kilometers in length, channeling river water into underground power stations. Construction officially began in 2025, with commercial operation planned for 2033, making the total construction period about 9 years. The project must overcome extreme engineering challenges, from a high altitude and thin air of the Tibetan Plateau to complex geology, harsh climate conditions, and strict ecological protection requirements. Every stage of the construction is pushing the limits of modern engineering. Number 2. International Space Station. The International Space Station, or ISS, is the most expensive human-made structure ever placed in orbit. With a total cost exceeding $150 billion, the station was built through collaboration between 16 countries and 5 major space agencies, making it the largest and most complex international space project in history. The ISS program began in 1998, when its first module was launched by a Russian Proton rocket. By 2011, the station's core assembly was complete, marking the beginning of full operations. Today, it has been continuously orbiting Earth for more than 20 years. The station measures 109 meters in length and 73 meters in width, roughly the size of a football field, with more than 916 cubic meters of pressurized living space, enough room for a crew of 7 astronauts to live and work in orbit. Its enormous cost reflects the extraordinary complexity of space engineering and the ongoing expense of operating a facility in orbit. Each module had to be designed and built in different countries, launched into space by rockets, and then assembled piece by piece through spacewalks by astronauts. Every launch, every component, and every mission required massive investment. More than just a laboratory in orbit, the ISS stands as a symbol of global cooperation and humanity's desire to explore the universe. Number 1. NEOM. The most ambitious and expensive megaproject ever conceived is NEOM, a futuristic city development in Saudi Arabia. The project carries an investment of more than $500 billion, with an overall long-term development plan estimated at $8.8 trillion, making it the most expensive urban project ever proposed. Construction began in 2017, with a planned completion timeline extending to 2045, spanning nearly 28 years. NEOM is located in northwestern Saudi Arabia and covers an enormous area of 26,500 square kilometers. Rather than a single city, NEOM is envisioned as a network of futuristic districts, including the Line, Oxagon, and Trojena. The most famous component is the Line, originally planned as a 170-kilometer-long mirrored linear city, 200 meters wide and 500 meters tall, stretching from the Red Sea into the mountains. The design aimed to accommodate 9 million residents, with no roads and no cars, relying entirely on high-speed transit systems capable of crossing the entire city in 20 minutes. The city would feature vertically layered infrastructure, housing offices, energy systems, and transportation stacked together, powered entirely by renewable energy with zero carbon emissions. Other districts include Oxagon, a floating industrial city on the Red Sea focused on automated, zero-carbon manufacturing, and Trojena, the Middle East's first year-round outdoor ski resort. However, progress has been far slower than planned. By 2025, only 2.4 kilometers of construction had been completed, less than 1% of the original design. By March 2026, financial pressure and lower oil revenues forced the project to undergo major revisions. The line's original 170-kilometer plan has been significantly scaled back, shifting toward a smaller development based on existing infrastructure, while other components are being reassessed. The entire project is now moving toward a more pragmatic development strategy. These 10 megaprojects represent some of the most ambitious engineering efforts in human history. Each one demanded enormous investment, overcame extraordinary challenges, and reflected humanity's relentless drive to imagine and build the future. Which of these projects impressed you the most? And do you think the downsizing of the NEOM project suggests that future cities will need more realistic planning? Share your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe. See you in the next video.